My name is McKenna Edwards.
And I'm Allison Mon.
We are Team UGA from the University of Georgia, and this is News Now.
So the problem is news avoidance. It's a growing issue facing our industry, our democracy, and the communities we serve as journalists, with almost 40% of people avoiding the news sometimes or often. Two key symptoms of this issue are fatigue from invasiveness with the 24-hour news cycle, constant notifications from apps, everything like that, and it just causes people to shut down. And then also option overload. There's too many choices, too much coming at you at once. And so once again, people just shut down and avoid it all.
What is it? What is our idea? News Now is an easy to use widget that lives on the user's home screen of their phone or on their tablet. The user would connect the widget to the website of the news outlet of their choice and would then select the type of stories they're interested in. From there, each time a new story in that category is uploaded to the website, the widget would update with that story's headline. If the user wants to read more, they would simply click the widget and that would take them directly to the full story. Our product would allow users to stay up to date on the news they want from a source they trust in an easy to use way.
So how does it work? When you install the widget, you'll be prompted to enter the URL of the news outlet of your choice. Then you would be presented with a list of that website's categories or tags, something that virtually all newsrooms have. And then you will choose what categories you want to see stories from. And then every time a new story and one of those tags is uploaded, the widget will update with the headline, the category, and a photo. No notifications to bother you, just automatic updates. And if you want to read more, just click on the widget and it will open right to the story on the website.
What were our goals when we were making this widget and when we thought of this idea? Attract attention and interaction by catering to reader interest. Humans have a limited attention spans, which countless forces are constantly fighting to monopolize. By having users input their specific interest, we believe that they will be more likely to read the headlines and open the stories that appear on our widget. Another goal of ours was to build trust in the outlet by slowly building habits of interaction. Trust in news is historically low, which is a contributing factor to increasing news avoidance. Letting the user select what stories they are exposed to from an outlet of their choice would establish trust and in turn decrease avoidance.
So the initial setup of the widget, this is what it would look like. You open it up, put in the URL of the news outlet of your choice. In our example, we chose redandblack.com, which is a student-run newspaper here in Athens. And then on the right side are all of the tags from that website, and you just select which ones you're interested in, and then from there the stories would update automatically.
Home screen to app, this is what our widget would look like if we had of constructed it onto users' home screens. And the photo on the left is of a home screen, not a lock screen. So that is where your widget would sit. And it would sit just like any other widget that you would have on your phone right now. And as you see on the left side, you're seeing that headline. On the bottom left corner, you're seeing the tag that it is from that you chose. And in the background of the widget is the photo from the story itself. And when you click that widget, it would pop you to the right side of the screen, which is just the URL or the website of the news outlet that you had entered into our app.
So, how did we beta test this? Focus groups to get some good feedback about what was working, what we could improve on if we were to actually develop the widget. We hosted two focus groups comprised of journalism students. So, why just the plan, not the actual widget? Beta testing the concept just based on the design allowed us to get some key feedback that we could iterate on in the future without having to invest too much time and energy into creating a product that we might completely overhaul. And then why use journalism students? A, it's a population that we had access to, and B, these individuals are intimately familiar with the struggle of news avoidance and were able to bring unique expertise regarding how news now compares to other efforts to combat news avoidance and how newsrooms could benefit from our product.
Why focus groups? Visual and auditory cues was a big thing that we looked out for when hosting these focus groups. Data from a trial run was one possibility we considered, but it missed a key aspect of user response, which was emotion. Just because someone happens to click on the widget doesn't mean they're necessarily liking it or that they don't have criticisms. Focus groups allowed us to see user reactions in real time and pick up on cues people might not even notice. Soundboarding within the group was also another reason we chose to conduct focus groups. While groupthink can be a risk, we hope that the conversational atmosphere of the focus group would allow for collaboration, letting people more thoroughly verbalize and discuss their thoughts. And we did find this to be the case, with some of the most helpful, comprehensive feedback arising from individuals working off of and expanding off of each other's ideas.
So, some key categories of feedback from the focus groups. One of the biggest things was having the ability to look at backlog stories and scrolling back through them in case you had your phone off for a while and missed all the updates, or you saw headlines that I don't have time to read this right now. I want to come back to this. So, being able to go back and look at previous stories was something that a lot of people suggested. Also, having access to multiple news outlets was one of the biggest pieces of feedback we got for if somebody is already an avid news consumer or wants, say, their local news outlet, state, national, to be able to put all of those into the widget and have it scroll through all of them. A lot of the feedback we got was that our idea was unique and very appealing. It was something that people had never considered before, but also that they would use on a daily basis. And then one of the slightly more negative feedbacks we got was the risk of echo chambers, essentially by letting people choose just what news they're getting access to in this way, it would just follow confirmation bias and reaffirm what people already thought. That was a risk that did come up multiple times.
Some key quotes that we wanted to highlight from our focus groups are, how do you make people care about something that they're tired of? And that was in reference to news fatigue and high frequency of notifications. Another quote was, the purpose of this project in particular is to increase trust with the platform, and we have to start somewhere. And that really stuck out to us as we did conduct focus groups with just journalism students. And it was nice to hear that we do have to start somewhere. Another fun little quote was, I do love widgets, and that was on how our widget News Now would be a fun, creative way to attract audiences to engage with the news of their choice in particular. And one last quote was, we need to stop relying on social media so much, and I think that your guys' idea really does a good job of directing people to the source, so I think that's a really good selling point.
So, would this actually work? Yes. The feedback from our focus groups, as well as just more casual feedback we got during conversations about this product in the months that we've been working on this, makes us feel confident that News Now could and would help decrease news avoidance were we to actually implement it, especially if we were to add the tweaks and edits based on feedback from our focus groups.
What did we learn through this whole process? We learned that the ease of access to stories and the passive consumption of headlines our widget would provide are key factors that can help begin to curb the news avoidance crisis. While our product and its method does have the potential to exacerbate other industry issues, namely echo chambers and feedback loops, we feel that the potential benefits outweigh the potential risks. There's no perfect solution to this problem, but a good place to start is by focusing on increasing trust in outlets while decreasing information overload and invasiveness on the user's phone.
So, what would we do differently, or what would we do if we'd had more time? Create and test an actual demo. If we'd had time, if we had access to someone who knows how to code, we would have loved to create a working version of this, especially with implementing the updates based on our focus group feedback. And we also would have loved to run some more diverse focus groups. While our population of journalism students did provide certain benefits, we would love to workshop this with regular people, regular news consumers, to see how News Now would fit into their news consumption habits.
And that was our presentation. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.